I'm joined at this time by star of Impact Wrestling, the one true Ace, Ace Austin. Ace, thanks for taking the time to speak with me today. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Relaxing on the quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that can be done at the moment. I wanted to start first by congratulating you on your X Division title run. I mean, you won the title at Bound for Glory, which is, of course, Impact's biggest show of the year, and it made you the second youngest X Division champion of all time, holding on for a really impressive 6 months, until, unfortunately, losing the title at Rebellion. Do you have a message you want to send to Willie Mack?
Willie Mack knows everything Willie Mack needs to know, all right? And Rich Swann may be doing better, but Rich Swann's not 100% still, and Willie Mack's going to have to continue to watch his own back.
Definitely. What does it mean to you to be able to hold Impact's signature title and etch your name in the history books, along with the likes of, P.D. Williams, Samoa Joe, Chris Sabin, Christopher Daniels, just to name a few people who have held that title?
It means everything, of course. I mean, I got big plans. I've always had big plans for my life, for my career, for my legacy, and it's just every day is history in the making. Every day is another step towards a bigger picture. I like to look at a bigger picture, and I like to just continue making history.
Yeah, I can't fault that at all. In the past, I know you've mentioned AJ Styles as an influence on your career. Now, AJ won the X Division title at a very similar stage in his career as you did, but shortly after that, AJ went to the top of the card and won the Impact title. I'm wondering, is that something you also have your eyes set on?
I have been called the next AJ Styles for a long time. Before I even made it to Impact, people have compared me to AJ Styles. And while I appreciate that, of course, and I have all the respect and admiration in the world for AJ Styles, there is no one else like me. And I'm going to be unlike anything anyone's ever seen. So if I must compare myself to anyone, then why not have it be AJ Styles? I think that his career path and the moves that he made and the steps that he took were next to perfect, And if I had to model my career after anyone, it might as well be AJ Styles. So, of course, I'm headed to the top. I've always been headed to the top. That's going to be a train that continues to move for my whole life.
So your eyes currently on the Impact title?
If the opportunity presents itself, I absolutely will.
I mean, I think you do hold wins over Tessa, the current champ, and you also hold a win over a former champ in Eddie Edwards. And that's something I want to touch on briefly, because you recently feuded with Eddie Edwards and became involved in somewhat of a love triangle. Now, I thought this was a great storyline. It had me hooked, wanting to know what was going to happen next. And I think you played your character perfectly in that. So as someone relatively new to the company and quite early on in your career too, what's it like working with someone like Eddie Edwards, who has been around for so long and, been around the block a few times?
Okay, so the theme of this call has been a lot about, me making history and me forwarding my legacy, and Eddie Edwards had a lot to do with that. The reason I targeted Eddie Edwards in the first place was because, who better at that time for me to go after and try and conquer? I conquered P.D. Williams. Eddie Edwards was a logical next step. So, yeah, it was a stepping stone. That's what it was. But that was the whole point. That was the goal in the first place.
TWM podcasts are brought to you by We Love Sport, the fantastic app finding you your nearest sports bar showing the latest WWE pay-per-views. We Love Sport has over 400 of the best sports bars and pubs in the UK at your fingertips and allows you to book front row seats, giving you the best views of the action. You can also check out what sports are being shown over the next 7 days, making sure you don't miss a second of the action. Download the We Love Sport app on the App Store or Google Play Store. Follow We Love Sport on all social media platforms at We Love Sport UK and check out welovesport.co.
Okay, and another feud you had quite recently, which I also really enjoyed, was the rivalry you had with Trey, where we saw a great series of matches, including a match at Hard to Kill, which was great, and along the way then, some good matches with Dez and Wentz too. It was another storyline where you also used mind games, perhaps using Trey's mum as a bit of a distraction to get Trey's eyes off the girl. I was wondering, have the mind games always been something you've tried to incorporate into your matches?
I think it's just a desire to win, to overcome at any and all costs. I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. What are you willing to do? That's kind of where, I'll give you a little funny story about Trey right now, actually. This is something that you're going to get here real special from me.
Awesome.
All right? My relationship with Trey goes back way before Impact, okay? My second, maybe my third year, I think my third year in wrestling, okay? I found myself, no, it was probably my second year, either way, okay? At the very beginning, when I got my first opportunities to travel out to the Midwest, okay, I'm from the East Coast, from the eastern side of the United States, from Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Right.
When I finally got to travel out to the Midwest, to the Ohio area, my first big match that I got to have in Ohio was for Rockstar Pro, and it was a 5-way, and one of the people in that match was Trey, who was just starting. He had been wrestling for a long time, but he was just starting to find himself and really get good at that time. So I was only 2 or 3 years in, killing it, and he was much longer in and was just starting to find his footing. Now, in that match, Trey got the win on me, and that's how our relationship began in Ohio, and we had a series of great matches, of course, after that, and all of those things. But and then he made it to Impact before me. So it's always been Trey just a little bit before me, because he's got a little bit more of that experience edge. But I was confident. I was hell bent on overcoming that whole concept, that whole relationship with Trey. So that's what that feud, if you must call it, that's what that was all about. That was me putting Trey in my dust, putting Trey behind me. That's what that was.
Oh, so that series of matches then, that was a long time coming.
It was. It absolutely was. He thought that he was gonna get his big break on Impact over me, because that's what he's always done. No, I wasn't gonna let it be like that. It wasn't gonna be that way.
So we spoke briefly about working with a veteran like Eddie Edwards. Another veteran who you got extreme with quite lately in a hardcore war, Tommy Dreamer. Now this is a guy who's been having these crazy hardcore matches, probably since before you were born, if not when you were a baby. So it must be really special, not only to have someone like that with so much experience in the locker room, but also to work with him and to beat him in the style of match that he's famous for.
Oh yeah, I think that's a huge testament to my raw talent and my raw potential. That was a match I had little to no experience in, and it was all survival. It was all instant. Okay, and across from Tommy Dreamer, when you're going to add weapons into the mix, it was dangerous. It was a little bit unnerving, but now it's part of the history books. I did it.
Had you wrestled many hardcore matches before that?
No, as a matter of fact, the only matches I was ever involved in that included weapons prior to coming to Impact Wrestling were ladder matches. I had only ever been in ladder matches on the indies. So my first experience with doing, weapon matches, street fights, no DQ, whatever you want to call it, my first experience using weapons like that came against Eddie Edwards in our street fight. So, television against someone of that caliber, you can throw me to the wolves and I'll come back leading the pack.
Yeah, I mean, talk about getting thrown in right at the deep end there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
TWM Wrestling wants you to check out 1310 Apparel, your place for fresh, fashionable wrestling merchandise. t-shirts, hats, hoodies and loads more available at your fingertips. To get 25% off at checkout, use the code TWM25 when you go to 1310apparel.bigcartel.com. You can follow them at 1310apparel on Facebook and Instagram, 1310app on Twitter, and once again, TWM25 at checkout to get 25% off at 1310apparel.bigcartel.com. That's 1310apparel.bigcartel.com.
So with Impact having a roster as diverse as it is, with different styles from around the world, all kinds of different characters, is there anyone you'd like to work with soon that you've not had a chance to just yet?
I'll tell you what, when Rich Swann comes back, get ready for some caliber of matches unlike anything you've ever seen before, because when me and Rich Swann, we haven't had that many matches, but the ones that we've had have been nothing short of magic. So you just wait until, Rich Swann's got a little bit of beef with me because of my friends, the Reno Scum. So I'm ready for him whenever he's ready to get back on that bad leg.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm looking forward to that match already. That sounds pretty good. If I can say as a second, as a fan, I'd quite like you to get in with RVD and Katie Forbes. I think that could be really entertaining.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that 100%, especially RVD. That's another one of those things that's been a lifetime coming. As a kid, I wasn't sure if I'd ever get the opportunity to wrestle some of my heroes and my idols, the people that I looked up to while watching. So I can't wait to step in the ring with RVD.
You know what? That would be pretty awesome. And yeah, I'd love to see you in the UK sometime soon. Ace, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and all the best to you. Thank you, and keep up the great work.